God is here tonight. And his name is Jesus!
But before that, rioters who inflicted so much damage on their own neighbours could be made to suffer a very public punishment, the Deputy Prime Minister Nick Clegg said today. He wants them to be forced to clean up devastated areas wearing bright orange suits so that everyone can see them. Our crime correspondent John Clements on Mr Clegg's riot payback scheme.
He wasn't the only teenager in court today for rioting, but he was the only one accused of murder. The 16-year-old inside this van killed pensioner Richard Bowes with a single punch, Croydon magistrates heard. Alongside him in the dock was his mother, who is charged with perverting the course of justice. Both were remanded in custody and will appear at the Old Bailey. The steady stream of alleged rioters at other courts has prompted ministers to consider how best to deal with them. Deputy Prime Minister Nick Clegg wants rioters to be forced to clean up the damage they caused and look their victims in the eye.
In every single one of the communities affected, there will be community payback schemes, riot payback schemes, where you will see people in visible orange clothing making up for the damage done, repairing and improving the neighbourhoods affected.
My working life is buried under there.
Rioters destroyed the jewellery shop Stephen Moore opened in Tottenham 21 years ago. He welcomed the idea.
I think we should see them about. We should have them paraded in front of us, shamed, because I think a lot of the community would tell them what they thought of them.
But Mr Clegg's suggestion that repeat offenders could be kept on the straight and narrow with extra supervision was dismissed as financially untenable by the probation union. Critics claim the proposals are all too familiar gimmicks, whose only effect will be to heap extra work onto services already under pressure from cuts. But ministers argue the violence which has brought 1,500 people before the courts means a renewed and reinvigorated attempt to tackle the cycle of reoffending is essential. Earlier, Home Secretary Theresa May asked police chiefs if curfews would preempt riots, but warned them cuts are still coming. The will to cut crime is not in doubt. Whether smaller budgets will allow that remains up for debate. John Clements, ITV News.
Two men whose crime was to use Facebook to incite disorder during last week's riots have been sent to jail for 4 years. Jordan Blackshaw from Northwich in Cheshire and Perry Sutcliffe-Keenan from Warrington were jailed at Chester Crown Court. The court heard both had set up Facebook pages encouraging riots in their hometowns.
Libyan forces loyal to Colonel Gaddafi have begun a fight back for control of the strategically important town of Zawiya, less than 30 miles away from the capital, Tripoli. Both the government and rebels claim to control the town, which lies on a road linking Tripoli to Tunisia's border.
Syrian troops have reportedly opened fire with machine guns on the port city of Latakia for a fourth day. Opposition groups say the attacks have killed at least 34 people since the crackdown began on Saturday.
India has denied it is stifling democratic protest after police arrested more than 1,000 people to halt a hunger strike by an anti-corruption activist. Campaigner Anna Hazare and his supporters were arrested hours before he was due to begin a fast against a proposed new anti-corruption law.
And an Australian businessman is being held in the American state of Kentucky, charged with locking a fake bomb around the neck of an Australian teenage girl in an extortion attempt. Paul Douglas Peters is now in custody, awaiting extradition. Australian and American investigators traced him through an email account.
First, they were trapped underwater. Then, having made their escape, they were in the sea for hours. The 5-man crew of a racing yacht have been recounting their ordeal after their keel snapped off during the Fastnet race. Mark Malliott has their story of survival.
Stranded on the hull of a multi-million-pound racing yacht, the crew of the Rambler 100 cling on and await help. The 100-foot-long boat lies overturned 15 miles off the Irish coast. It was taking part in the Fastnet race, which left the Isle of Wight on Sunday. Everything was going well until the keel broke off just off the coast of Baltimore in County Cork.
We just jumped off a wave and had a big bang, and I thought it was in the rig, so I looked up in the mast and everything kind of looked okay in the mast, but the mast was falling over, so it was pretty obvious that the keel had, we worked out pretty quickly the keel had broken.
All 21 of the crew were swept overboard. It took 3 hours for help to arrive.
The local hospitals and doctors, they've been great. They actually gave us a lot more care than we even needed. And I guess if I could find an excuse to come back to Baltimore, I'm going to find one. Probably going to find one that's less dramatic than this.
The Rambler 100 is now considered a navigational hazard, and a decision has to be taken whether to sink or tow the racing yacht ashore. Mark Mallet, ITV News.
Some breaking news now, and in the last half an hour the Foreign Office has confirmed reports that a British man on his honeymoon has been attacked and killed in what is believed to have been a shark attack. It happened when the 30-year-old went swimming off the island of Paslin in the Seychelles.
Now, leading jockeys are worried that plans to make some of the Grand National's fences safer will change the race for the worse. The famous Beecher's Brook and 2 other jumps are to be altered.
Aintree Racecourse says it's all part of regular reassessment of the risks, but the course was criticised after 2 horses died during this year's race. Stephen Douglas has been to Aintree to hear reaction to the changes.
Millions watched worldwide as 2 horses lost their lives.
Dooney's Gates is down, West End Rocker.
As huge screens were put up near Beecher's Brook, huge criticism was levelled at the Grand National. Change was perhaps inevitable. Aintree Racecourse will now alter 1 fence in height and 2 in structure, while the base of all 16 jumps will be more clearly marked. But is it enough?
You can never completely eliminate risk from horse racing. 4 years ago we introduced bypassing lanes at each of the fences, so the course is constantly evolving, and this is the next step in showing a continuous commitment to improving safety.
The racecourse is keeping work on famous jumps like Beecher's Brook under wraps, but I can show you here what they're planning. When a horse comes up to some jumps, the ground on this side is higher than on the other where it comes to land. The plan now is to raise the ground here by several inches, meaning the drop for the horse is less.
He's drifting towards the outside, but he's done enough to win.
The man who tasted victory at this year's Grand National is conflicted.
You know, no one wants to see fatal accidents happening on the race course, and they do happen, you know, occasionally, sadly, but that's the game we're in. But on the other side, we'd hate for the race to lose his character, you know.
It's a view shared by many jockeys and trainers, but not by animal rights groups.
There's only one thing to do with the Grand National, and that's to get rid of the jumps altogether and make it steeplechasing or flat. And if that's not going to happen, I don't know.
For more than 170 years, this course has played host to history, but fewer deaths are what's wanted. The test will come when the National returns to the grass of Aintree next year. Stephen Douglas, ITV News, Merseyside.
Football now, and Arsenal secured a narrow home win over Italian side Udinese in the first leg of their Champions League qualifier.
There's plenty about the latest phone hacking claims on tomorrow's front pages. The Guardian says the secret letter from the News of the World's former royal reporter has lifted the lid on what the paper claims is a 4-year cover-up. The Telegraph suggests the letter shows the paper's executives did know about the extent of phone hacking 4 years ago. The Independent shows the letter in question and the blacked-out sections. The paper calls it a smoking gun, which it claims exposes the extent of the cover-up at the News of the World.
And finally, to the congregation of the Pentecostals of Grenada Church in Mississippi, Canon Tipton is a familiar face. His father is the pastor. But 4-year-old Canon is more than just the son of a preacher man. He is a preacher himself, as Chris Shipp in the United States explains.
I'm a preacher man. The one to God. Like a man's church to the man's church of Pentecost, of Pentecost, of Pentecost.
Canon Tipton has not yet started school.
The red hot papa.
That is because he is just 4 years old.
It's the Lord as the words. He was on Pentecost of Bernadette, Mississippi.
And yet at this Pentecostal church in Mississippi, the son and grandson of preacher men looks completely at home on the stage.
And his name is Jesus.
Canon's sermons have become an internet hit. And on the sofas of NBC's Today Show this morning, his father Damon said there was a simple way to explain his son's gift.
Well, one word comes to my mind, and I believe it's phenomenon. Of course, he is mimicking, but I do feel like the hand of God is on him in a special way.
In fact, Canon is not a newcomer to the church stage. At 21 months, he took a microphone and started to preach. Asked why he does it, Canon said,
just like your daddy, huh?
On the internet, questions have been raised about his parents' judgment in allowing him to take to the pulpit.
I'm preaching about.
But they insist Canon does not do it on demand.
And just worship God. And then he's gonna worship God.
Only when the mood strikes.
That's so good. I thank God.
Chris Ship, ITV News in the United States.
Whoa! I love to preach tonight.
And that is tonight's ITV News at 10.
Coming next, the national weather and the news from your part of the UK, but from the two of us, good night and thank you for watching.
Good night.
Bright outside, fresh inside. The ITV National Weather, sponsored by the Cooperative. Good with food.
Hello again, a very good evening to you. As expected, it's been a fairly wet picture across many parts of the UK through today, and the system that's brought us all that rain is just clearing away from the northeastern parts of Scotland as we move through the night. So a fairly soggy picture for you. Elsewhere, it's a fairly clear, settled sort of one, and I think we're going to be seeing some misty, murky bits in places and quite cool under clearing skies as well. Down towards the far southwestern tip of Devon and Cornwall, cloud thickens here ahead of the next system, which is going to be really moving in across tomorrow afternoon. So a fairly miserable old picture towards the south, I'm afraid, and a little bit north of that the clouds quite thick. But as you go further north, we are going to be seeing a mixture of sunny spells, a few light and patchy showers around, and for everyone a little less blustery through tomorrow, so it's not all bad. See you later.
The ITV National Weather, sponsored by the Cooperative. Good with food.
Hello everyone, welcome to Calendar's Late News. A second man has been charged tonight with the murder of a man gunned down in Leeds last week. 34-year-old Gavin Clark was shot in the face in Chapeltown last Monday. He died on Friday in hospital. A 28-year-old man's due in court to face the murder charge tomorrow. He's accused of the killing along with 23-year-old Afzar Arif. 4 others have been charged with assisting an offender and already been remanded in custody. Meanwhile, police have released more footage of the people they want to trace in connection with disorder in the Chapeltown area last week. Ben Earlham reports.
Whilst West Yorkshire didn't witness the trouble on the scale seen in other cities across the country, on 2 evenings last week in northwest Leeds there was disorder, there was damage, and police have been hunting those that caused it. This afternoon, new images of that trouble in Chapeltown have been released by police. The first shows a group of around 15 people walking across Francis Street into Nassau Place shortly after 10:30 last Tuesday. An hour later, a group of more than 20 people are seen walking along Reginald Terrace as one of the group throws bricks. West Yorkshire Police has released this footage, hoping members of the community will come forward and identify the people caught on camera. The force has said some of them are wearing distinctive clothing and some of the people watching it will know exactly who they are. So far, 58 people across West Yorkshire have been arrested following last week's disorder. 3 people in Wakefield have been charged with offences relating to inciting disorder via social networking sites. Inquiries are still ongoing, and police have renewed their appeal for anyone with any information to contact them on 0845 606 0606 or anonymously to Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111.
Ben Olam reporting. An inquest was opened today into the death of a young mother from Chesterfield who was overcome by fumes in her family's tent on a campsite in Wales. Investigators are trying to find out if Tracy Screen died from carbon monoxide poisoning. Her husband and 2 children survived and are now recovering in hospital, as David Hurst reports.
A bright, vivacious young mother killed by the fumes of a charcoal barbecue. Tracy Screen seen here with husband Ben. The couple had travelled to this campsite in North Wales with their 2 children aged 7 and 4. They'd arrived just the day before at the site between Carnarvon and Pwllheli. Police say that after using their portable barbecue, the family pulled it inside their tent before going to sleep on Sunday evening. They were found unconscious by campers the next morning. This afternoon, this statement from Tracy's best friend on behalf of Ben Screen, who's now recovering in hospital with his children.
Tracy was a loving and caring wife and a wonderful mother of 2 amazing children who have now got to come to terms with the terrible, horrific accident. She was a friend to many and will be deeply missed by all, and we ask at this time that the family could have time to grieve and to come to terms with the loss of someone so special.
Police are waiting for the results of toxicology tests before announcing officially what killed Tracy. But it's believed the so-called silent killer carbon monoxide may have been responsible. In Chesterfield today, this former neighbour of Tracy Screen summed up the reaction in the area.
It is a shock. We were only out a few weeks back in the club, having a dance and a drink, a little club at Checkers. I just can't believe it.
An inquest was today opened into Tracy's death, and police said tonight that they're continuing to treat her death as unexplained, but not suspicious.
A 49-year-old man from Salby Bridge near Halifax has died after an accident at a quarry in Lancashire. Lindsay Easton was driving a crane when it toppled into a quarry yesterday. He died at the scene. A joint investigation has been launched by police and the Health and Safety Executive. Union members at First TransPennine Express have voted to walk out in a row over pay. Thousands of train passengers across our region face disruption as a result of the industrial action. They haven't yet set a date for the strike, and it comes as rail passengers found out today that they could face ticket price increases of up to 8% in the new year. A couple from Leeds say their wedding was ruined after the man they hired to film their big day was late and missed the vows altogether. Craig and Rona Holdsworth's cameraman had actually been in the room next door at Leeds Town Hall filming the wrong wedding. When he finally turned up, there was just enough time to film the reception. On to sport, and a busy night of football tonight, starting in the Championship. Barnsley have lost 3-1 to Middlesbrough, who beat Leeds at the weekend. Their consolation goal, an own goal from Borough's Stephen McManus. Doncaster on the receiving end too. They lost 1-0 at home to Nottingham Forest. Leeds have got their first win of the season, though, in the big derby against Hull. It finished 4-1. McCormack, Lees, Snodgrass and Nunes on target for United, and Lees got Hull's goal too. Into League One, a bad night for Sheffield Wednesday. They went down 2-1 at Bury. Chris Sedgwick getting their only goal tonight. No points for Chesterfield as well. They went down 2-0 at home to Preston North End. Huddersfield, well, they played out a goalless draw at Hartlepool, and Scunthorpe went down 2-1 at home to Oldham. A late winner from Matt Smith. But a big fight back from Sheffield United tonight. They were 2-0 down at home to Walsall, but they ran out 3-2 winners. Lee Williamson turned it all around, scoring one and earning a penalty for the winner. Into League Two, and Bradford went down by a single goal at Accrington Stanley, and Rotherham United, well, they picked up all 3 points at Crewe with another strike from Adam Lafondra and one from Ben Pringle. It finished 2-1, continuing their great start to the season. That's all the results, that's all the news from the Lates team this evening. John Mitchell has your weather forecast. We're back in daybreak in the morning. We'll see you all again then. Bye-bye.
For the weather you really want,
Flights from Jet2.com sponsors the ITV regional weather.
Hello again. Well, there's not much water in Underbank Reservoir up in the Peak District there, and we're expecting a dry day tomorrow as well. Things fairly quiet at the moment on the weather front, so it's a good time to set your barometer. If you want to set it to 1,010 millibars or 29.8 inches of mercury. Now, we have a fairly quiet night in prospect tonight. It should stay dry with extended cloud breaks and just a light westerly breeze, so temperatures by the end of the night dropping away to a cool 8 or 9 Celsius. There's a sun times then for tomorrow. These days are shortening now. It's up at 5:47 in the morning, setting at 8:32 tomorrow evening. We have a decent day on the cards for tomorrow. It's going to be nice in the morning with a fair amount of sunshine, a little bit of cloud building up as we head through the day, especially in the south of the region, North East Derbyshire, Nottinghamshire and Lincolnshire there. But it will stay dry, always the best of the sunshine though over North Yorkshire, I think, and a top temperature similar to today's values at 19 or 20 Celsius and not much wind to speak of. In the outlook then, it is unsettled. Thursday, Friday, sunshine and showers. The showers fairly well scattered, some places staying dry, but it's rather cloudy though on Saturday. That's your forecast. I'll wish you good night.
Jet2.com sponsors the ITV regional weather.
Welcome to the Tonight programme. What's going on and where does the blame lie?
The Tonight programme, every Thursday at 7:30 on ITV1 and ITV1 HD.
A first leg match from the playoff round tomorrow night. Bayern Munich play FC Zurich. That's UEFA Champions League live on ITV4 at 7:30. Now, film time with scenes some may find disturbing. Someone has a grudge.
Coming to your home, ITV Movies sponsored by Toyota Prius.